the morning mist and Lao Tzu approaching the western gate. The morning mist clung to the bamboo forests of ancient China. An old man, mounted on a water buffalo, approached the western gate of the Great Wall. His beard was white as mountain snow, his eyes bright with the wisdom of ages. The border guard, Yin Shi, watched the unusual traveller with growing fascination. There was something different about this old man, a presence that seemed to bend the very air around him. The old man smiled, a gesture that seemed to make the morning mist itself dance around him. This was Lao Tzu, though few knew his true name. For decades, he had served as the keeper of the royal archives in the Zhou dynasty's court, watching emperors rise and fall, seeing how the endless pursuit of power brought only suffering. Halt! Who approaches the western gate? I am just an old man seeking the path beyond paths. The clouds told of your coming. Please, before you leave our kingdom forever, share your wisdom. The world needs it more than the wilderness does. The highest good is like water. Water benefits all things without striving. It flows to the lowest places that others disdain. In this, it is like the Tao. For 3 days and nights, at Yin Shi's request, the old sage stayed at the guard post. There, with a borrowed brush and strips of bamboo, he wrote down the essence of his understanding, not as commandments or rigid rules, but as poems and paradoxes that danced at the edge of understanding. As he wrote, he spoke of his experiences at court, where he had watched proud men destroy themselves through their very efforts to gain power. Lao Tzu. Once I saw a minister spend years crafting elaborate schemes to gain influence. He built alliances, spread rumors about his rivals, and hoarded secrets like precious jade. Yet in the end, his very schemes became the web that trapped him. While the simple gardener, who wanted nothing more than to tend his flowers, lived in peace and died content. He wrote of the time he observed 2 disciples arguing over their philosophies. Lao Tzu. Each believed he had grasped the ultimate truth. They debated until their faces turned red and their friendship turned to hatred. Meanwhile, the truth they sought was in the very air they breathed, in the silence between their angry words. As his brush moved across the bamboo strips, he shared the story of the old clay potter. Lao Tzu, she was considered the finest in the kingdom, yet when asked about her technique, she laughed and said, "I don't shape the clay, I simply remove everything that isn't the vessel. The vessel is already there, waiting in the clay. My art is knowing when to stop." Through these stories and others, Lao Tzu wove together the 81 verses that would become known as the Tao Te Ching. But unlike other philosophers who sought to build rigid systems of thought, his words were like water, flowing, adaptable, impossible to grasp, yet impossible to harm. Lao Tzu. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. He wrote of paradoxes that made the mind stumble into wisdom, how the softest things in the universe overcome the hardest, how true power comes from serving others, how victory can come through yielding, and how true wisdom often looks like foolishness to the world. On the final night, as he completed his work, a gentle rain began to fall. Lao Tzu. Perfect, for only an empty vessel can be filled. Only a mind free of preconceptions can receive truth. As dawn broke on the 4th day, he handed the completed text to Yin Shi. Lao Tzu. Here is what I know, though in writing it down, it becomes less true. The real truth is not in these words, but in the space between them, in the silence that gives birth to all sounds. Then, mounting his water buffalo, he rode west into the morning mist. Some say he disappeared into the wilderness, others that he ascended to become an immortal. But his words remained, becoming not just a book but a doorway through which countless seekers would glimpse the ineffable. Centuries passed, empires rose and fell, but the old sage's wisdom continued to flow like water through the ages. In busy temples and quiet rooms, in times of war and peace, those who felt lost would find their way back to his words. Lao Tzu, a journey of 1,000 miles, begins with a single step. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. And perhaps most importantly, the highest good is like water, benefiting all things without contention. In the modern world, where success is measured in followers and influence is counted in clicks, his paradoxical wisdom cuts through the noise like a cool stream through a dusty city. CEOs find wisdom in his teachings about leading without controlling. Scientists discover that his ancient insights into the nature of change parallel quantum physics. Ordinary people, overwhelmed by the complexity of modern life, find peace in his message of simplicity. For in an age of endless growth and relentless progress, Lao Tzu whispers still, the path forward sometimes requires stepping back. In a world that celebrates full calendars and constant connection, he reminds us that emptiness creates possibility. And in times that value certainty above all, he shows us the wisdom of not knowing. Like the water buffalo he rode that misty morning, his teachings continue to carry us toward understanding, not through force or argument, but through the gentle power of flowing water, wearing away the hard edges of our certainty until we too can glimpse the profound simplicity on the other side of complexity. And so the old sage rides on through history, his smile as mysterious as ever, teaching us still that the most powerful forces in the universe are often the quietest, and that true wisdom begins when we learn to listen to the silence between our thoughts.